Conflict in its rawest form reveals the most brutal aspects of our nature. It's a stark reminder of the lengths individuals and societies will go in pursuit of their beliefs and survival. One such conflict that has come to define the modern era is the Israel-Gaza War, an ongoing strife that has its roots in decades of political, religious, and territorial disputes. This story begins on October 7th, 2023, the day when the tension that had been simmering for years erupted into a full-blown battle. The militant group Hamas, which had been governing the Gaza Strip since Israel's withdrawal in 2005, launched a surprise attack on southern Israel. Rockets pierced the sky and the Gaza-Israel barrier was breached, marking the beginning of what would become the deadliest war for children in modern times. In response, the Israeli military launched an extensive aerial bombardment campaign, followed by a ground invasion. The skies of Gaza were filled with the terrifying roar of fighter jets and the horrifying sight of buildings crumbling under the weight of relentless bombing. The blockade imposed by Israel brought the Gaza Strip to its knees, with essential supplies dwindling and the health system on the verge of collapse. By the time December 3rd rolled around, the death toll had risen dramatically. More than 17,000 Palestinians had lost their lives, and among them, over 7,000 were children. The scale of the tragedy is unfathomable, painting a grim picture of the reality of modern warfare. Both sides of the conflict have been accused of war crimes as civilian deaths mounted and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza worsened. The international community called for a ceasefire, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. Israel rejected these calls and continued the offensive. The United States, a key player on the global stage, vetoed United Nations resolutions calling for a ceasefire. This sparked global protests as people around the world voiced their outrage and concern over the ongoing conflict. This conflict has been marked by a cycle of violence, with each side responding to the other's actions with increasing force. The blockade imposed by Israel and Egypt has significantly damaged Gaza's economy, leading to heightened tensions and clashes. Hamas, on the other hand, is seen as a terrorist entity by some countries, while others do not share this view. Efforts to reach a resolution through elections and negotiations have been unsuccessful so far. The current conflict was triggered by a planned operation by the Al-Aqsa brigades in response to the Israeli occupation, blockade, settler violence, and restrictions on Palestinians. In summary, the Israel-Gaza War that started on October 7th, 2023, has resulted in a human tragedy of unparalleled proportions. With a rising death toll and accusations of war crimes against both sides, the conflict has sparked international outrage and calls for a ceasefire. However, despite these calls, the war continues, leaving the people of Gaza and Israel trapped in a seemingly endless cycle of violence.